Welcome to the Celebrity Josh podcast, which is the name until I change it because I don't like it. And I'm Josh Rachlis. Also, I don't like my name, so I'm going to change that. Maybe Kris Keppeler will have some ideas for me. It is Friday, August 13th, 2021, 4:16 p.m. And, we're making it through the day without any too much bad luck, hopefully. But we don't know how Kris's day is going. Welcome, Kris.
Thank you. Actually, my day is going pretty well. Yeah.
Oh, exciting. Okay, so we are doing this on Skype. So if you're watching this, you can see the video, and if you're just listening to this, you can see the audio. I guess that's all self-explanatory. But I'm just saying, if people want to look up on YouTube to see what we look like, you can do that. I'm in Ottawa, Canada. Where are you?
I'm in Seattle, Washington.
Ah, very nice. So you're across the continent. So it's like 1:17 p.m. for you.
Yep, it sure is. Yeah.
And how's it going? I think the last time I heard about Seattle, were there like riots going on? Maybe I'm thinking of the G7 meeting or something. It's Portland that's getting burned down now. I don't know how Seattle's doing.
Yeah, Portland kept burning after Seattle, sort of quieted down. Now, right now, it's hot. We're having extra heat. And it's smoky. We're getting wildfire smoke. So, from Canada.
Yeah, my friend Kathleen, who used to be my neighbor in Toronto, she lives in Vancouver again now. And she just texted me last night saying it's smoky. She's got to get an air conditioning. So you're blaming Canada. I see how it works. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. We'll take the blame. It makes us feel special to actually be influencing something. So do you have if you were in an elevator, and I'll tell you a story about an elevator in a second. No, I'll tell you right now. I just got into a Twitter war on Twitter about somebody posted about getting insulted on an elevator, and I asked what happened. And everybody's piling on, saying, "Oh my God, you're mansplaining." I'm like, I was just wondering what happened. So that's exciting. But if we were in an elevator and you were giving me your little pitch about who you are and what you do, what would it be?
Yeah, I'm an audiobook narrator, producer, and consultant, writer and voice actor, and also a podcaster. And I'm an actor with an IMDb page. And I specialize in bringing content to life with words, sound, and images.
My gosh, that was a lot. I feel like I should write that down so I can here. Where's my scrap of paper here?
Yeah, everyone says that's too much.
All right, what do we got? So there was voice. What? Okay, say those again. I'm gonna make a little point notes.
Audiobook narrator, producer, and consultant.
All right. Well, why don't we just start with that? Audiobook narrator, producer, and consultant. So a voice actor, right?
Yep.
Which is what I do. Actually, I just have a question. Like you're looking over there. What are you looking at? Is there webcam? Am I there? Do you have an external webcam?
No, it's just where it's how my iPad is set up for some reason.
Oh, do you have an external? No, you don't have an external webcam on it, do you? It's just
No, it's just apparently how I've got it set up.
All right, no worries. Just curious. What was I going to say? Okay, so I'm a voice actor, so I'm curious about that. And then do you just do audiobooks?
No, I do not only audiobooks, e-learning.
Okay, I do those too, yeah.
Yeah, and some video voiceover. Yeah.
Ah, cool. Yeah. And then so what is the producer aspect of that and consultant?
I taught myself how to produce audiobooks too, so I not only narrate them, I can produce them to Audible standards.
And what does that mean?
I do the editing and mastering also.
Okay, so editing I do, like if I'm sitting in an audition or a gig, I'll just cut out my breaths and mouth clicks. And then mastering, what is that? Are you like adjusting levels or?
Yes, adjusting levels and stuff. Audible has really, all audiobook work, it's really specific levels that you need to engineer to. So I taught myself to do that.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
And I also, edit for pacing on audiobooks. So.
And the ones that you narrate yourself, or would you do that for other people too?
Mostly the ones I narrate for myself. I did work with an author who wanted to self-narrate, and he didn't want to use the studio, so we managed to set it up so he could narrate at home, and then I edited and mastered the book for him.
Wow. So okay, so you've made yourself a couple of like whole. So what would the consultant part be?
The consultant part, I consult with authors who want to self-narrate their book, teaching them, the finer points of narration, what to expect in the booth, what to think about, how to prep their book, things like that. Yeah.
And how do they find you?
Usually, I end up getting referred through author coaches who often aren't interested in dealing with audiobook stuff, but they have an author that's asking, so they send them to me.
What's an author coach?
There's actually a lot of them out there. They help authors write their books.
Wow. So that's not like a publisher or something or an editor even, just sort of. Well, I guess it's one of those things on the internet now. You can just,
yes.
Make up your own job. I'm an author coach. Okay, cool.
Yeah. They sort of shepherd them through the whole process.
Yeah, that's cool. Because that's what I'm realizing about everything. Like, if you figure out how to do something, then that's what you can help people with. Like, I'm planning to start some Facebook groups for people, and
yes.
I just realized, hey, I was going to make just one big one, like, I'll teach you everything I know, but I'm like, because some people were like, well, I'm not interested in buying Bitcoin, but I want to learn voice acting, so there's no point in starting a group to mash thing together. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll just start a voice acting to teach people how to do that. Yeah. And then I could start, and then it also brings together like-minded people, so it's all people trying to learn voice acting, so they can help each other and share these things. Yeah. And then it occurred to me, I had this big brainstorm yesterday. I was going to write it in a diary or something, because I feel like I should start making a diary, because I'm always like, oh, when did I think of that idea? And I never remember. But it just occurred to me, the benefit of starting a group on Facebook is that then people can find you. Like, nobody's going to randomly come across my name on Facebook. But if I start a group like the voice acting class, and if people are searching that, then they'll find the group. And then that way, I'm building my community and brand and followers that way. So I'm pretty happy with that.
I actually just wrote a course on self-narration for authors and published it on listenable.io.
Listenable.io. I always love websites with the .io, and in my head I always like make it an EO, so it's listenable EO or something. But then I realized that's not what it is at all. So you made a course. So what was that again?
It's a course on self-narration for authors. I take them through all the way through, even to marketing their audiobook. It's audio only, so I wrote it and then I narrated it myself.
So you practiced what you preached.
Yes.
It's like if you like this audio narration, then you should be listening to this audio narration. Yeah. Well, that's cool, because that's what I all these podcasts I've been listening to lately, that's what they say. Like, you can be a coach or a consultant kind of thing, but then if you can make a course as well, that's great, because it'll say, like, then you can scale that. You only have so much time in the day to coach an individual person, but
yes.
And you put it on listenable.io?
Yeah, I did it through listenable.io. Yeah.
What is that?
It's a new app, and it's short. They specialize in short audio courses, so you can listen and learn.
Yeah, because I've only heard of Teachable and Thinkific and Skillshare, like video courses.
Yeah, it's like that, only it's audio only. And it's short. All their courses are pretty short. I think most of them are under an hour. So mine's only like 26 minutes.
Wow, that's so great. Because the one thing, I every now and then I think, oh, I could take a course in this and that, but I'm like, it'd be expensive, or not expensive. Just like take a long time, and also I got to sit there and watch a video. But every day I go for like an hour jog, and I listen to a podcast for an hour. So I would listen to a course, Yeah.
So now you can listen to a course. Yes.
And I'm also like, I think Thinkific or one of those places emailed me a few years ago saying, hey, we need copywriter courses. Could you write one? I'm like, I don't even know how I'd start to do that. And so I just never did it. But even just hearing that, I can do an audio course in just 26 minutes, I can just bash that out.
Yeah.
Wow, you're on top of all the latest tech. And what was the Audible thing you did? Normally you you do books for Audible, or what was that?
Well, most of the books I've narrated are published to Audible.
And is that owned
Um,
by Amazon?
yes.
Okay, so that's
Yes.
the big one. That's a good one.
That's the big one, yes.
And then normally the books okay, so those are people that hire you to narrate their books.
Yes.
And then how do they find you?
Through acx.com, sometimes through freelancer sites. I see a lot more audiobooks coming through freelancer sites, and then author coaches too that refer me to authors who wants a narrator.
Right. The famous author coaches. And then I guess that's how it worked. Like a book would exclusively be on Audible. It wouldn't be like you just narrate a book and then it goes out to all the places like a podcast would or something.
No, there's specific platforms for audiobooks. Audible's the biggest one. Then there's Findaway Voices. I also have a book out there on Findaway Voices. That's another large audiobook platform.
Findaway Voices.
Findaway Voices, yes.
I've never heard of that one. I'll have to check it out. So much stuff. My mom listens to.
Great because you don't need to have a published book to have an audiobook. Because on Audible, your book has to be published on Amazon to be made into an audiobook for Audible. But Findaway Voices, you can just put an ebook that you self-published out there, make it into an audiobook, and put it up for sale.
Oh, okay. So Audible is only if there's like a paper or electronic, like a written version
Kindle,
of the book.
Yeah.
And that has to be on Amazon. But can anybody put a book on Amazon? Like if I just self-publish it or something?
Yeah, anybody can put a book on Amazon, yeah.
Okay, but you have to do that first, and then you can say, okay, now I've got an audio version of it. I wonder why they do that.
You don't have to do that with Findaway Voices.
So. Yeah, interesting. I guess they just, I don't know, want to make sure people have their books there. I don't know, give people options. Very complicated, because my dad was reading the Seinfeld book recently, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, there's an audio version where Seinfeld reads the book, you can listen to that. So, ooh, kind of thing. So he must have, maybe he did it so that, I don't know why. No, he doesn't need any money. I was like, meh.
Yeah, well, most well-known actors or comedians, or, if they write a book, generally they're going to narrate it themselves.
Yeah. I wouldn't, when I looked it up, I was like, oh, I wonder if there would be one that he narrates, because, or one at all. But that's interesting that he narrates it, because then especially with a voice that him, you kind of, it's all the timing and the voice and everything.
Especially.
It wouldn't make any sense to have it the other way. Huh. And I was like, oh, does he have to put the voice on so he can have the book on? No, but it's the other way around. He has to have the book first. Wow, so much going on. I'm expired now. I just want to self-publish some things and then narrate my own book. Even if I was even thinking today, it's like, why not just, like as an experiment, I just want to try making a little book. Like, for example, I was going to write down the 10 things I do to make my voice acting faster. And maybe it's like a 2-page book or something. Yeah. And then I could just, maybe, figure out how to make that a book on Amazon, like a mini book or something.
Yeah.
Because I figure once I do the process, then, like even with my podcast, finally last year, I was like, I've been studying this for years, how to make one, how to get it on iTunes. And I'm like, here, let me just sign up for hosting, and then, follow step by step. What do I have to do to make this file to get it up? So, I'm just going to force myself to. And then I was thinking I want to write like Christmas short story romances or something. Just because I think I knew a girl a few years ago who said she wrote one like a page or two long, and she sold it for $1 on Amazon and sold like 14,000 copies because people like Christmas romances. I'm like, what? I could do that.
Wow.
I'm going to do it. Yeah. And then how did you get into all of this? I mean, I guess it's all relatively new stuff. It's not like, decades ago I started being a voice Audible consultant person,
No, it's through my acting. I've been an actor for over 20 years now.
Okay.
So, and I used to be a singer. And so, voice acting and singing sort of go together.
Yeah.
And so someone said, oh, why don't you, learn voice acting? And then I really loved it because it combined my singing and acting skills into one.
That's pretty
So,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess I was working as a copywriter in Ottawa like 20 years ago, and then we needed a voice for a couple of radio ads. And I was like, I'll do them. There's no actors here, kind of thing. And then I
Yeah.
had cassette tape with a couple of radio ads when I went back to Toronto, and I made copies on my double tape deck that I got for my bar mitzvah, and I mailed them to all the talent agencies. And then there was just another actor
Yeah.
or another copywriter at my ad agency that had an agent. I said, "Who's your agent?" And I sent them my tape, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't have anybody who sounds like you, so we'll try you out."
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, so that's how I got in, and then um, these days, yeah, like I was just on a Zoom call, like they were doing a focus group for the ACTRA voice actors, asking what issues we want in the contract or the new things, and I was like, I haven't had an audition in 2 years, so I don't even know. I'm just listening. I'm contributing. I can't contribute here.
Oh.
Um, but all there's so much stuff that's online now. There's so many
Oh, yeah.
websites you can just submit your own auditions and
Yeah.
record your own stuff from home. So
Well, you have to. You have
yeah,
to know. I just finished a class in May, was, learning to do a better job of self-tape, because that's all it is.
mm.
I just did a commercial audition yesterday. It's all, we have to set it up here in the, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's what they were talking about in the Zoom call. Like somebody was saying, maybe we should get like $5 or something to audition because we have to be the producers now,
Oh,
and
yeah.
why do we have to know this stuff? And in the old days, you didn't have to be a producer. And it's like, well, yeah, those were the old days when you'd go
Yeah.
in and they'd have an 8-track or something. And
Yeah.
but now
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
You can do it from your iPhone now, or like whatever you have,
Oh, yeah.
a good mic
Yeah.
attached to. So
That's what we use my Android phone. It's the best thing we've got right now. Big
oh,
Moose, it's not an expensive Android phone, but it does a great job. It does a great video.
for what do you do with your phone? Like for auditions or
For
filming?
auditions, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for
That's
sure. Yeah.
what I use, yeah.
Yeah, but I was talking about like even the voice actors who saying, "Oh, I don't know how to record my voice or edit it or whatever." It's like, well, figure it out.
Oh Lord, you have to, you have to have your own studio nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, every audition I get, they're like, "Do you have a
Yeah.
home studio?" I've never had. They're always asking whether you have, uh, what's it called, like the Super Source Connect or
Oh, Source Connect, yeah.
ISDN, all that nonsense. I don't know. Um,
It's pretty much I don't, ISDN is like pretty much dead.
okay,
So it's all Source Connect, yeah.
I'll have to look into that because I was always wondering. I still don't quite understand what it is. I was like, does that I have to get something wired to my computer or like?
Yeah, it's special software
Yeah, it's just soft.
that connects your recording setup into their recording setup.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
I figured it wouldn't even work with Wi-Fi. You have to have it plugged into the wall, maybe. I don't know.
I think it works with Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Okay, that's good because I could have done that in my old condo, but currently I'm living in my parents' basement and I don't have the internet's all the way upstairs, and I've did all this
Oh,
research how to get the cord down here, and there was no
yeah.
way. And so I just got a Google Mesh system, which actually works now. It looks like I've got full bars down here. But when I
Wow.
moved in here like a year ago, I couldn't get internet down here at all, so I couldn't do my my comedy class shows or anything.
Oh no.
Sitting on the porch all summer, just
Yeah.
but now I'm down here. I got my little office. I've got my green screen made out of paper from the dollar store.
Yeah.
I'm rocking down here.
Ah,
So
well, that's good.
yes, well that's good. So I'm trying to I've been trying to figure out what is my podcast about and stuff. And I figure what I like listening to is just talking to people about what they do and how they got into it. And so I
Yeah.
feel like I'm learning a lot here. And
Yeah.
and you're telling us how you got into all your things. So
Oh yeah.
I think I'm doing a fantastic job so far of this podcast. Let's see. So we covered off audio narrator, consultant, producer, and then what else was there?
I also write, and I'm an actor with an IMDb page.
Right. Okay, so we can talk about acting because we've already touched that a bit.
Yeah.
You're very proud of your IMDb page. That's exciting.
I didn't really think about it for a few years at least, until I was talking with somebody and they're like, you need to go talk to this person because they, they're really into that. And I'm like, oh, okay, and it's like, he came up and said, oh, I heard you have an IMDb page. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, literally screaming in my face. I'm like, this seems to be important to some people.
He was screaming at you that you should have one, or he
Yeah.
was talking about his own. He's like, yeah, I have an IMDb page. Yeah.
Yeah. No, just that he was so excited to meet someone with an IMDb page. You're like automatic celebrity to some people.
Really? Oh, that's why
Yeah.
you make it one word. I'm an actor with an IMDb page. That's my full title.
That's why I mentioned it. Some people are like, their eyes glaze over and they have no idea what you're talking about. But people who know what you're talking about start jumping up and down in excitement.
Ooh, yeah,
because so happy to meet someone with an IMDb page.
Yeah. So for listeners who don't know, it stands for Internet Movie Database, or database, however you pronounce it. Yep. And yes, you can't just make. It's not like, oh, I just made a Facebook page. Like, you have to have like a legit credit,
Yep.
like some kind of thing that was on TV or radio, or
yep.
I guess, I don't know what else,
Yep.
film, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So yes, I made myself one a few years ago. Because a lot of people wouldn't think that, like, they don't nobody comes to you and says you need one. Like, you're like, oh, you got to make your own. And then I would start looking up. It's interesting things, because I loved adding things. Like, if I was in the news or in a debate when I was running for mayor, I'd go look up, okay, what's the TV station it was on, or the channel, or the show, and then I would add my thing. And it took me a long time, because there's so many things you got to put, like what it is and what your other sub roles are, and producer, and it takes forever. But I've gradually added stuff, and then because I remember I got into, like, I told a girlfriend of mine, or she was an ex, but then I got her back. But while we were broken up in the middle, I told her to start a film festival, or no, just before. But then I know she started it after we broke up. A little small town film festival, and then it was somehow legit. I can't remember what made it legit, but I was able to say, oh, I had a film in this film festival, so now I can add it to IMDb and stuff. Yeah. Which is, I guess, a reason to do things like that. If you can get a film in a film festival, or if you can get on a community cable show, or like anything that might be IMDb-able, it's good to do there, because then you can. It's legit stuff. And then
the other nice thing is, if you type my name into Google, that's one of the first things that come up.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you got this really nice IMDb page thing that comes up. It's like, oh, this is great.
she's legit. It's not just
It makes you really legit. So it's like,
man,
it's cool.
I'm gonna have to start mentioning that. I'm gonna have to put it in my Instagram bio, or the little link to my IMDb. I wish, and I don't know if IMDb is changing now, but like with LinkedIn, I never was into it, because I was like, oh, it's just like a boring work thing. But now it's like a big thing, and it's got the same. You can do stories and voice messages and post your videos and interact with people.
Yes.
I wish IMDb was more like that, so you could make a page, but then people can comment maybe, or give little reviews on things. But I don't know how interactive it is, like why somebody would go there. I guess unless they're looking up your credentials, or maybe for film geeks. But you can get the pro version too, where you can find out more about people and find Steven Spielberg's email address, or.
Yeah, I have the pro version, because then you can upload your resume and stuff like that. So
okay, so that's good. Yeah, because that you can get up your videos, your photos, or whatever, and that's a good thing to direct people to, because then again, it's better than, oh, here's my little WordPress or my Wix. It's like wow, okay, so and I guess you could. Do you have can you put audiobook credits on there? I don't know.
No. Although I have a video game credit on there. Video game credits go on there.
Yeah, I've done a few of those. Yeah. And they can look impressive. Like, I think I got some audition once for like a Harry Potter game, and I think it was just like as a ghost. I probably just said "woo," like, just, I don't know. So that's it. But now I'm Ghost in Harry Potter game with Warner Brothers or something, and it sounds pretty impressive. And I found, like, just some obscure game. What's it called? Like Westworld 3 or something. I don't know, but I found on YouTube some kid had posted, like, my character. I was playing like a Topeka teenager, and then these clips of me doing my things. I'm like, oh my god, I'm an actual thing now. This is crazy. So yeah, so made sure to get that on IMDb.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got actor, and then so you've also done like on camera or theater, like what kind of
Yes.
acting? Yeah.
Camera. Yeah, I have several movie credits on
Ooh,
IMDb. Yeah, of
nice.
indie film. Yeah.
Cool, cool. And they were done in Seattle.
Yep.
And how do you get those? Is there a local Seattle, like, I mean, the old days, you'd go to the schools and look at the posting on the bulletin board, like who's looking for something for the film school or something.
Yeah. Well, I have an agent. I have an agent
Yeah.
here in town that I get some of those through, and then it's just postings, or I get to know people, and they think of me. So yeah.
Cool. Well, that's fun. And is Seattle like a creative city? Lots going on?
Yes, it
Huh.
is. It's a small community, but there's lots going on. We just what we have lacked for many years was a soundstage. We now have a soundstage.
Ooh, so that's is it? And I guess does that mean like real like Hollywood people would come up and move? I guess they wouldn't.
Yes,
Uh,
it's a much bigger attraction now.
mm.
To Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still I think they'd like that because I mean they shoot in Vancouver a lot because of the Canadian dollar, but also
Yep.
because you can go straight up. It's the same time zone, all of that. They don't want to go all the
Yep.
way to Toronto.
Yep.
So then
Yep.
Seattle could be a bit of a Hollywood North as well if they want to stay in the country but have it cheaper, but also be in the same time zone.
Yes. Yep.
Zip home to their Hollywood mansions in the evenings and then go back to Seattle.
Yeah. And Portland is really busy.
Mm.
They're really a big um, film and TV place now. So
That's cool. I was there once, like 15 years ago. It's funny, every story I say now, it's like it was 15 years ago because I know it wasn't 10 years ago. It was longer, but I don't want to say 20.
yeah.
It seems like 15 years ago I did quite a bit, it seems. But we shot a commercial there, like using an animation house, but it was puppets. And yeah, and the commercial got pulled off the air immediately because it was a bunch of puppets, like animal puppets, sticking their heads up dryer vents, and each one was smelling a different scent of Bounce or Gain detergent, about
Oh.
which ones they like. And then one person wrote in and said, "That's dangerous. What if a kid? You shouldn't be smelling dryer vents or something. Or what if a kid gets his head stuck in a dryer? I don't know, whatever." And they're like, "Oh, you're right. It's dangerous." Right. Okay. So it's a beaver puppet with his head up a dryer vent, but still. Um, but yeah, I remember the city was very cute, and I remember downtown the blocks were just they were tiny. Like 10 steps is a block, and now you're on another block. It's like it's like you can run.
Yeah, it's definitely very different from how Seattle's laid out. So yeah.
Yeah, I've never been to Seattle, so I'll have to come check that out, and maybe I start a grunge band or something there. Uh, have you always been in Seattle?
No, I was born in the Midwest in Ohio.
Hmm.
Lived there and I hated it. I hate the Midwest. I hate the weather.
Because is it just hot and cold, or
Hot, humid, in the summer, bugs,
yeah,
yuzu. Just I don't. I prefer the West,
yeah,
mountains, lakes, things. Yeah.
and water? Like, and humans want to be near water.
Yes. Yes. We got lots of it here. So yeah.
And then, and do you start acting once you got to Seattle? Is that where you discovered it?
Yeah, actually I did. Yeah, started my acting career in Seattle. Yeah.
Were you doing another job at the time, or was
Oh
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I was in the corporate world for many years. I was in purchasing. Yeah.
Oh, I love purchasing. I don't like paying the bills, but I like to purchase.
Yeah. Well, I just got to buy, and then I didn't have to pay the bills. The
Right.
company paid.
See, that's good. What were you purchasing?
Generally, I worked for many years biotechnology,
Oh,
and then I worked for also a semiconductor company. That was really interesting.
those are the two big things. When I started buying stocks 20 years ago, semiconductors were the huge thing. It's like I
Yeah.
got to invest in semiconductors, and then I also got into biotech stocks, and I just
Yeah.
abandoned the semiconductors, but I just started trading biotech stocks again a couple of days ago, and I'm pretty proud of myself. I did a good trade. I bought this stock Sezin, I think. I don't know what the full
Mm-hmm.
name is, but I bought it at $3.98 because they had an FDA decision coming up on August 18th, and things tend to run up towards that.
Yeah.
And then 2 days. So I bought it on Tuesday, and then on Thursday it shot up. Or no, yeah, Thursday. Shot up Thursday, and I sold it at $4.76. So
Oh,
I'm like, okay, pretty good. That's like
yeah.
25% or something. I had
Yeah.
1,195 shares. And then it kept going up. I'm like, oh man, I should have held on to it.
Yeah.
And then today it was up again and went up to like $6. I'm like, oh crap.
Wow.
But then I checked again like 10 minutes ago. I'm like, well, oh, it's at $2 now. So what happened was, and it's like a straight line down. So what happened
Yeah.
was they got a CRL, a complete response letter, which is basically the FDA saying your drug's not good. But what happened was, and I'm learning this now, I wish I'd known this a couple of years ago, is it used to be that companies would, like if they have an FDA decision coming up, if it's the 18th, you'll find out on the 18th whether they got it or not, whether
Uh-huh.
their drug was approved. So it was kind of a safe bet to try to go for the run up and then sell it before that decision. But
Yes.
but now the FDA, I guess, tells them earlier, and I think there's like
Really?
a legal. I think they're legally bound to reveal it as soon as they know it. So like 2 years ago, just before the pandemic, I put like, I don't know, $200,000 into a stock. I was like, this is going to go up. But a month before it was supposed to have the decision, they got a CRL, and then it tanked.
Oh
And I
no.
even contacted the company. I'm like, why did you do that? And like, oh, we have to tell people. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So now I know. So I was all like, oh, I'm sad I got out, but I would have been very, very sad if today I was almost bought into it again. I'm like, maybe I'll get it at $6. It's like, no, now it's like,
Yeah.
so good for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so biotech's fun and semiconductors are fun. And then, so how did you go to acting school, or you just suddenly, how did you get your first acting thing?
Well, I've always been a singer, and I sang in choir for years, and I got bored with choir. And then it's like, well, I'd like to do singing again, and it's like, where else can I do singing? And a blind date took me to a Gilbert and Sullivan production.
Ooh,
And on the back of the program, it said, we're looking for chorus members. Come audition. So I did. And in the next production, I was a fairy in Iolanthe. And it's like, well, this is a lot more fun than standing on risers in a black dress. And
yes,
this, I had a wand and I got wings, and it's like, hey.
that's so fun. And that was in Seattle?
I was in Seattle. Yeah.
Cool.
And so it's like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. And then it was, I really want to be at the front of the stage.
Mm,
And so that meant taking acting lessons, and it just, yeah.
that's
Kept
cool.
at it, got to the front of the stage, then got into film. I like film because, theater's nice, but it's a black hole for time.
Yeah,
And so, and then it's done, and there's nothing more with film. It's like, there's IMDb now, and there's like, stuff you can show people
yeah. You put
that
the film
stays
on,
out there.
you put it
So
on
it's like,
YouTube, and it's there forever. Yeah.
yeah. So I prefer doing, film at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I like the fact that I film something and it's there and you can send it to people and it's around
Yeah,
forever. Theater is just like for the
yeah,
10 people that are there. Because even if you film
yeah.
theater, nobody's going to sit there and watch a play on
No,
video.
no.
Stand-up's a bit different. Like now I would film it so that I can, maybe get a little clip
Well,
on
yeah.
TikTok or
Yeah.
something. But the fun thing about theater that I miss, that I don't know if I ever fully appreciate, it's I mean, especially when you're young and you're in school, it's like going to camp. Like we're all doing this play together and we meet
Yeah.
for 3 hours and we bond and then we have our cast party and we're all in love with each other and everything. So that's kind of fun. So sometimes every now and then I consider, well, why don't I try doing that again, like a community theater, and just
Yeah.
look up, I could be like a detective in a play or something and
Yeah.
create this thing.
Yeah.
So I bet then I never do it, because then it's like, oh yeah, how much time do I have to spend? And then the pandemic's been on for 2 years anyway, so there's nothing going
Oh,
on.
yeah. Yeah.
But there's lots of things. Like even in the winter, I just decided suddenly, I was like, I've been in Ottawa. There's nothing going on. I'm kind of bored. I never did extra work in Toronto, even though I signed up for a couple of agencies. I was like, it seems like
Uh-huh.
it's time. But then I
Uh-huh.
thought, well, maybe I could see if they need any extras in Ottawa, and especially like
Yeah.
I'm a union actor, so they might. And so I emailed an agency, and then right away she was like, oh yeah, do you want to be a cop on Friday in this Hallmark type of movie? And I'm like, sure. So
Wow.
I went over, and
Yeah.
it was just fun. Again, it was like, yeah, you just meet the people, you chat, you just sort of have to do your little role, and
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so yeah, anything like that is a fun way to meet people and be
Oh yeah.
sociable, all of
Yeah.
that. So it was the acting, and then there was writer as well. So what kind of writing?
I just do blogging.
Yeah,
Generally, I do blog about health and wellness. I'm health editor for Women of Wisdom magazine. It's an online publication.
Women of Wisdom.
Yeah, yeah. That's for women over 40. Yes.
Ah, oh, is that what of
Yeah.
wisdom means? I've met some non-wise with women over 40, but sure, we'll say they're
Yeah.
all wise. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've written some comedy stuff that's published on medium.com. I'm on medium.com.
Oh, that's another one I keep hearing about, like that. You got
Yeah.
a medium. So what is that?
Yeah. It's a really large writing and blogging article platform that pays a lot of their writers. So, um,
All right.
it's like, yeah, you can just go out there and publish whatever, but then they have publications that you can submit to. I like to submit to publications because generally you get more views there. So,
Yeah, you look, and then
yeah.
builds your audience. They're like, oh, I want to see
Yes.
what else
Yeah.
Kris Keppeler has written, and
Yeah.
oh my
I have
God, she has an
like,
IMDb.
what, 1,500 followers out there now. So,
Wow. So
yeah.
on Medium, so they can click follow
On
you.
Medium, yes, they can follow you. So I have lots of, and I have a lot of favorite writers on Medium that I narrate their stories for my podcast.
You narrate their stories for your podcast.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so what does that mean? Well,
It's like my podcast is like a micro audiobook.
okay.
The stories are about usually 5 to 10 minutes long.
Oh, so like short stories. So like you'll
Yep.
see a writer and do you
Yep.
contact them and say, hey, do you
Yep.
want me to narrate this?
Yep. Yeah.
And they'll say,
So it's, they have another way to get their story out there to people who like to listen rather than read. And most writers really, I have some that don't want to work with me, but most writers are like really excited, to hear their story in an audio format.
yeah. And do they pay you? No.
No, I don't. No, I don't
Yes.
charge anything. It's
So,
all free. It's like
yeah.
free PR.
Yeah, so but they couldn't. Could they even stop you? Like, couldn't you just read a book on your podcast? Like, what are they? I don't even know if they could
Yeah,
legally.
I don't want to violate people's
No,
copyright.
no, yeah, it's still. But I guess I mean, I could probably just read a book and put it on a podcast. I don't know what that would happen. Never occurred to me. But of course, it's better if
Yes.
you'd want to work with them, like have
Yes.
them agree, and then they can promote it and all this kind of thing.
Yes. Then they can promote it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big thing is they get to, I send them a link and say, share this, wherever. So
Yeah, and I feel like that's the benefit of even doing this podcast where I can
yes.
talk to you and then you'll
Yeah.
post it and all your followers
Yes.
they'll
Yes.
discover me and go, oh my God, he's the best podcast guy ever, I'll listen to him too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I can turn them all off immediately and then not have to worry about it again. I was like, okay, well, at least we're done with those. The women of wisdom, they're done with me. Yeah. Okay, so let me think. We had writer, actor, Medium. Okay, yeah, Medium, yeah. Because I've been listening to like James Altucher's podcast lately, and he's kind of a multi-hyphenate guy, and he talks a lot about, he's mentioned Medium, and he writes a lot for Quora. Like he'll answer questions on Quora.
Yep.
And then he says he's like the number one guy there, and he's got 150,000 or millions of followers or whatever. And I'm like, okay. Like, and he talks about how just go in there. When he coaches people, it's like, just go in there and start answering questions, and then you'll become the expert on bridal things or whatever it is that you're an expert on. So that's another example. All these things I'd never thought of. Right? Like, why am I wasting time posting on Facebook? I can go discuss things on Quora and get followers there. And whatever it is, you're promoting your thing. Okay, now you're answering questions on voice acting, and then people might be like, oh, I've got this book, and oh yeah, well, I'll narrate your book, and it's all kind of thing. So, and you write. So what do you write? Okay, so what do you write for Women of Wisdom and Medium?
It's generally about health and wellness stuff,
Right.
fitness.
Is it
Yeah,
stuff?
I'm into fitness. I go to the gym 3 times a week.
Clearly.
I recently got back to going to the gym. I did it here at home.
Yeah.
While COVID was, well, it's still raging, but while COVID was,
Yeah.
raging. So.
Yeah. And do you like the health stuff? I guess, where would you get your information? Would you find things on, like, is it just out of your own head, or is you find things online? You're like, I can write about this topic, or?
It's both. It's both things that I'm interested in. I like doing research.
Mm.
So things that I'm interested in, and then I
And
find out more things and write about it. So yeah.
And then do you have to pitch it to women of wisdom, or that you just like?
No. Since I'm health editor, I just put it up there.
Oh, you're the health editor. And are there other people that contribute things that you would look to what they write?
Yeah. She has several contributors.
Oh. And how did you get the health editing position there?
I just emailed her and said,
Guess what?
I'm interested. She said, what do you want to write about? I said, I'm interested in health stuff, and give me so many articles, then you can be health editor. I said, okay.
Cool. That's fine. How did you find out about her site? Just sort of.
I saw it on a PR site that I get. They put out, people are looking for such and such, and so I saw it there. And yeah.
Oh, that's a good thing. PR site. Yeah. Because I know there's a site where reporters post that they're looking for people to quote.
Oh yeah, that's Haro. I did a few things out there. I didn't get that much out of it, so
I might check that out. And what's the PR site?
Oh, let's see.
I guess I could just Google PR site and see what
It does have a specific name. Hang on. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Oh, pitch. It's something about pitch.
All right.
Rate.
People can look it up if they want. I'm not. We don't need to give them completely free advice. They can sign up for your courses.
Okay.
So have we covered all the jobs? Audio narrator, producer, consultant, writer, actor?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I think when I went to your website, I was inundated with all of that. Yeah. And we met on Podmatch, which matches people up with guests. And have you been on that long? I mean, I don't think.
For a while. Yeah. For a while. It's taken a little bit to get matched with the right people, but
yeah, I must have signed up a year ago or something. Maybe I found out about it when I went to Podfest just before the pandemic or something.
Oh yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Oh, in Orlando?
Yes.
Cool. That was fun, right?
That was very fun. I enjoyed it. Yes.
Yeah, that was my big, because I sold my condo in July 2019. I want to be free to travel, but I didn't go anywhere. I was staying in hotels in Toronto, Ottawa. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm going to go to conferences. And there was this Israeli lobby group conference I wanted to go to in Washington again that I'd gone to, but I didn't book it soon enough. And then I was like, all right. And then I was like, I'm going to go to Podfest then. I'm just going to go. And yeah, it was so much fun. And then there was sort of word about COVID at the time. Like, even when we were there, it's like, oh, don't shake hands. It's COVID. Haha.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop us from just eating food off, buffet tables and stuff.
Yeah.
And then somebody gave me a ride to Tampa, and I was in a hotel there. And then that's when everybody was like, "Oh, you're not supposed. Don't." People look at my Instagram stories, going, "Don't touch your face." Yeah. And I'm like, "What? No, Tom Hanks has COVID." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then I was gonna stay in Miami, and my mom's like, "Oh, the border's closing. You gotta come back." I'm like, "Oh crap."
Yeah.
So that was it. But I've done some Podfest things online lately. Like they've done some virtual conferences.
Oh yeah, they have. Yeah, they did did quite a bit of virtual stuff for a while.
Yeah, and I didn't like watch them all. And then I think one of the recent ones, I was like, you know what, I'll pay for the ticket afterwards so that I can access all the videos of all the presentations. So I thought, of course, I'll want. And so I paid $100 or $200 for that. And of course, I've watched nothing. I'm never going to go back 6 months later and watch somebody talk about how to get YouTube stats. It's probably all not even.
The thing. Yeah.
Oh, that was dumb. Because at the time I have FOMO. I'm like, oh my God, I want to see what they said about how to monetize YouTube or something. So they
Yeah.
got me. But I met some even cool people there. I think that I've interviewed for my podcast.
Yeah,
And,
I met a lot of people. It was great. Yeah.
yeah, so hopefully we can get back into something like that, because I felt like this was like it was like Frosh Week for grown-ups. We all get to hang out and go. We all have a dance party and all of this.
Yes.
I know they're having another. I don't know if it's passed yet, but they were doing some kind of another in-person one. I think in Orlando again this summer at some point. So
Uh-huh.
I don't know what the travel rules are right now. Whether I can just go to the U.S. and show up and I'm like I'm here, or whether I have to quarantine if I come back. Or I don't know what. But,
I don't know. It's like an ever-changing.
yeah, so I figured I
Yeah.
should just keep hustling down here and make $1 billion and whatever. So we're working on that. we, and so yeah, have you? It was so that's okay. So I signed up for this Podmatch thing, and I think it was only a couple weeks ago that maybe I got an email saying you haven't been on it lately or something. I'm like, what is this thing? So I actually looked. I'm like, oh, I can click on people, and then
Yeah.
boom. Because yeah, even over the winter, I interviewed a few people just I met randomly on LinkedIn or something, or Instagram. But then I decided, you know what, I should start doing this regularly. So and it's interesting. Like I've done, I guess you're my 7th interview in the past week, and I still have to
Wow.
do the other ones, like upload the other ones. And
Wow.
I did 5 from them, and then a girl I met on LinkedIn just randomly, some student told me about her media thing. But yeah, I'm on fire now, so I need to get them up.
Yeah.
But I find that yeah, the site is good because you're being matched with people who want to
Yep.
talk. I find that a lot of
Yes.
times I'll message random people or just people like on Shaper app or different apps, and I'll be like, oh, I
Yeah.
can chat with you on my podcast, just as a way of having something useful, because otherwise I don't want to
Yeah.
just talk to people that like, oh, now I got to talk to somebody on the phone. I'm like, okay, if I can get content of this. But a lot of people are like, oh, what would we talk about? Why would I want to talk? I'm like, okay, forget it.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody like you that wants to talk, and then
Yeah.
it works out well. And so yeah,
Yeah.
so you've been doing it lately to, or you were saying it's tough to find the good matches, or
For me, yeah. For me, I had a hard time finding good matches. So
yeah, nobody knows what to do with the audio narrator, writer, actor kind of thing. I don't know.
yeah, unless I connect with, I've been on a few book-related podcasts
Mm,
because it's like, oh, we talk to authors and stuff. Oh, we should talk to an audiobook narrator. So
yeah.
those, yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I think because I don't really know what this podcast is yet. Like I feel it gradually I thought I was going to be interviewing celebrities and like I did on red carpets, and then I'm like that doesn't make any sense. First of all, celebrities aren't even allowed to talk to most people. Like, they have to check their agent and like but
Yeah.
also what would I even talk to them about? And then I was like, okay, well maybe I'm just talking to random creative people. But as I do it more, I feel like it's kind of a yeah, learning how people do what they do, how to make a living being creative, how to be successful. Uh, so hopefully people will find it interesting. They say like, I don't know who said this, but if you talk to, if you just talk to people you're interested in, then maybe there's people like you that might be also interested in these people or whatever.
Yes. I have gotten, actually, it turns out that meeting lots and lots of people has turned out to be great for my business, and especially the virtual, choosing the right virtual channel. Because, yeah, the more people you meet, the more people are probably going to, you can help along or they can help you along. So,
Yeah, and I think that's basically it. Like every person becomes an exponential. Okay, now you're
yeah,
because James Altucher was just saying like on LinkedIn even the stats show that most people don't get a job from the people they know, but they do get a job from the friends they know. So it's like if
yeah,
you talk to somebody now, maybe they know
yeah,
somebody who can connect you,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and I guess oh now I was trying to think of when did somebody tell me this, but it was yesterday. I was talking no, it wasn't a guy I interviewed. I was watching a Creative Mornings presentation by this guy Jay Klaus or something who gave a talk
Uh-huh.
on how to podcast, and I I wasn't sure I wanted to do it because I saw the topic was like how to podcast on a budget or something. Well, I don't care about saving
Yeah,
$10 or whatever, but it
right.
was interesting. He just talked about his whole process about how he edits and books people, and he said yeah, like having the podcast is fun because he can has an excuse to chat with someone that otherwise there would be no reason to do that. Like you don't call somebody and say, hey, can I just or
Yeah,
like he was saying his first big interview was Seth Godin, and that was his first episode, and he's like, oh my god, like, and but otherwise he wouldn't have been able to call Seth and say, "Can I pick your brain for an hour?" But with a podcast, it gives you an excuse to talk to people.
Yep.
And then it's also just fun because I get lonely. I like talking to people, but then it's making content at the same time. And yeah, it gives you a reason. Like, I've been surprised at some of the people I messaged on like some big supermodel woman on Instagram. It's like, yeah, I'll talk to you. And then I just got so many messages after I can't find where her message was and I can't remember her name.
No!
So I'm trying to go through my thousands of Instagrams to delete them all. It almost seems to stop me from deleting too many at once. I'm like, I've got to find this woman again. I keep Googling British supermodel and I'm like, no, she won't show up. I'm like, this is so hopefully I can find her. But
yeah, I think that would be interesting to interview a supermodel. Wow.
Yes, very interesting. And then the other idea I had a couple of days ago was just because I'm working on my jokes for round 2 of a stand-up comedy contest, and like, so I'd like to talk to other comedians. I mean, that was my original plan actually when I thought about podcasting. Mark Maron, he started in his backyard interviewing his comedian friends. I'm like, I could talk to comedian friends. And I thought, actually, well, there is a podcast where they sort of analyze a joke and ask the comedian how he came up with it and why it's funny and all that. But I thought I could do the same kind of thing. So I just messaged a bunch of comedians on Instagram and said, hey, and like tons of them have said, sure, I'll do that and stuff. So now I'm like, oh, I guess, yeah. And then I can find out what it's like to be a comedian in LA, and maybe I can get in that community, and hopefully all their friends will listen to it. And yeah. And my mom's been saying, like, so where can people find your podcast? Like, you seem to be putting a lot of work into it now. Like, but I also on YouTube, I just post random clips of me just walking around or talking to ducks or whatever I'm doing. So yeah, I should make at least a playlist saying, here is my podcast, and so people can find it. And that way, maybe I can just focus on that. Because it seems like a way of combining all, like you were saying, you combine your acting and your singing, and that's what. So I mean, this combines my comedy because I can be funny, but also my desire to talk to people, and I can put anything into it. I could read my jokes. I was thinking I could. Another idea I had for a podcast was like maybe I interview people, but we come up with a short story together. We just sort of brainstorm it, and I type as we're doing it, and by the end of it, we've got a short story, or we've got a character. I could say we're going to write a Christmas story or something. That could be fun, like just a different way of talking to somebody rather than just asking about their life. So we'll see what it all becomes. I had some other deep thought to add there, but I can't even remember what it was now. I was going to say, what do you think about this for the name of my podcast? Because I've been calling it Celebrity Josh, but I had an idea because I want to come up with another name for myself that's shorter, and I keep coming to the name Spark. I'm like, Spark would be cool because I could be like Sting or Pink, like just one syllable. But I can't get spark.com or anything like that. But I was able to get Spark the Genius, and I thought, okay, so that could be like my name. I'm Spark the Genius, but also it's like my mantra, like I'm going to help you spark the genius. It's like, this life coaching kind of thing. And then that's why I'm talking to people to help everybody spark the genius within them kind of thing. So do you like that idea?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
My other possible name is Juice Box, just because I did comedy last month about juice boxes, and then juice boxes.
That's a good one too.
You like Juice Box? Wow. Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll be a different name every week and just see what hits. Cool. So if people want to find you, they can look up your IMDb page, I guess. Is that your main thing? Or your Medium, or your, I don't know. Where do you drive people? Does everybody go to kriskeppeler.com and then they find all your stuff, or?
Yeah, you can find all my stuff at kriskeppeler.com. Yeah.
That's a good place to drive people. Because I find that I've discovered, like, even in April, they shut down my Facebook page for a day, and I was like, oh my God, I'm off Facebook. So, if you're driving people to your Instagram or anything, any of your social media could disappear at any time. So you might as well get people going to your site and sign up for your email newsletter, which I need to start. That'd be cool.
Yes. But I'm on Twitter a lot.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Did I tell you? I told you I'm in a Twitter storm right now. So I might message the woman I commented on saying, okay, everybody's ganging up on me now. But I could interview you for my podcast about your thing. Do you want to hear that story of the Twitter firestorm?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's just this woman. I don't know how it even came up in my feed. I don't really follow anybody on Twitter. But some female doctor just posted, like, to the woman who called me up, well, the B word that rhymes with witch. Today, just so you know, I'm a doctor. I was on my way to my 15-hour shift, and I'm allowed to look tired, and I'm in the pandemic that's just getting worse or whatever. I didn't really read the whole thing. I just skimmed it quick and I just thought, so I just commented, so what? Because I was just curious, why did she randomly call you a B? Like what?
Yeah.
So I just said, yeah, why did she call you that? Like, did you have a discussion beforehand? And then I was a bit of a passive aggressive guy. I was like, and if you know she reads your tweets, why didn't you just, even if you know she reads your tweets, why didn't you just discuss it with her at the time? So I knew in my head that, of course, this woman, she wasn't really tweeting to that woman, saying to the woman who did this. But then, so people have been piling on saying you're mansplaining and why of course you're telling the victim of the abuse that it's her fault. I'm like, I know, I was just asking what was this? And then I was like, okay, it sounds like, I read it again, so it sounds like she was looking tired leaving her apartment, and some neighbor thought she was making a mean face, and then the doctor replied, no, I was at work. And I'm like, so I still don't understand what happened. It's like, so you were in the hospital in the elevator, and a woman just randomly, as she's walking out, goes beach, and I'm like, why would what? And then everybody's like, you don't understand what it's like to be a woman. I'm like, it's a woman who said it. Anyways, so but of course, what I've learned first of all is that there's no point in like, if you say anything on Twitter, people are going to pile on, and or people like, you're sea lioning her. I'm like, sea lion? What is that?
What?
It must mean like gaslighting, I guess. And you're being ratioed, and I think that means more comments to likes, so it means it's showing that they dislike. I'm like, why does anybody even care about my stupid little tweet? Like, I don't know how this has become a thing, but maybe I can get a story out of it. But you were saying you're on Twitter. That was what sparked that. Okay, so you comment on Twitter? Do you?
I generally share, and I'm sharing funny stuff. I love comedy, and I think it's good to laugh. So I'm generally sharing funny stuff, especially from the writers, the humor writers that I'm connected with because of my podcast. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. Oh, so is the podcast all funny stories?
It's all funny stories about life and befuddlement.
Oh man, that reminds me of, there was this guy, I guess he passed away, but he was on CBC Radio in Canada. What's the show called? Was it the Vinyl Cafe, or no? That's a radio like a music show, I think. There was something about, he would read these. It might have been the Vinyl Cafe, actually. Like he would come up with these short stories every week. It would be like a different short story about this little town. And when I was younger, I assumed I thought these were true stories. Like, he knew this town, and it was all these little things happening. But of course, it's one of those things when you're older, you're like, no, he made those up. But he would tour around and do those live readings, and it was just such a comforting thing for people. They love fun little short stories.
Yeah.
How did you come up with?
Most of these stories I do are true. I specialize in nonfiction.
So but funny stories that are nonfiction.
Funny, weird stuff about I once got in an argument with the checkout clerk at Safeway about jalapenos.
See, that could be a 5-minute stand-up act.
Yeah.
Wait, so that happened to you?
That happened to me, yeah.
And you wrote that? You wrote a short story about it, or that you wrote it up?
I actually wrote a short story about it, yes.
Okay, so that you should definitely do that as a stand-up act, first of all.
Yes.
And then you read that for your podcast?
Yeah, I think I read it for my podcast. Yeah.
But your podcast is mostly other people's funny stories.
It's mostly other people's stories, but sometimes I do my own, yes.
Okay, so it's kind of like Reader's Digest, where somebody might tell here's a funny story that happened with my kids or something.
Yes.
Oh, how did you come up with that idea to be like, I'm going to read stuff off of Medium?
Well, I started out with bloggers that I liked, and then I got into Medium, and it's like, oh, there's just some really great writers and stories out there. So it's like, just sort of finding different writers and having a variety, but it's all on a theme, because my podcast is, does this happen to you? So it's about weird, mundane things in life.
Yeah, like a Seinfeld act. It's like, and that's
it is sort of like
Larry David, like
it's nothing really, trying to get the, Safeway checkout person who doesn't speak English to understand jalapeno.
Yeah, that's a good topic. Yeah. Well, that's good because I mean when I wrote my act last month to enter the summer contest. Like when I did it last year, the summer contest, and it was all these little bits. I was trying to be so clever. Like, here's a science fiction short story I wrote, and here's my thoughts on what if I could go back in time and tell somebody in the past about future technology, whatever. But this time I decided, you know what? I'm just going to talk about getting my second vaccine, about how I commented that the syringes were the same color as the nurse's shirt, and she was like, huh, and I'm like, oh my god, that makes me sound creepy or whatever. And I just so for just 5 minutes or 6 minutes, I just talked about getting the vaccine, and it's like, and I wound up winning first prize of the night this time. So it's like,
wow.
Yeah, so it kind of works. And so I'm just trying to think of what's my little anecdote. So even just being able to notice the things in life, like, aha, trying to get the lady to understand, like making a note of that. That's what makes for great comedy. And most people, things just happen, and it doesn't occur to you that, oh, that could be something. Yeah, and that's why Seinfeld's book is called "Is This Something?"
Yeah,
very cool. That's brilliant. I'm jealous of all your ideas. It makes me. This is exactly the kind of thing that James Altucher does, and that I've been looking for other people that do this. That just think of an idea. Hey, here's an idea. I'm going to read stories for people, and going to combine my skills, and it's a smart way of repurposing content. There's already stories out there that you can say, okay, I'm going to read them. Yeah, and then all these authors will be like, oh, this is the expert on this, and then people want to listen to it. Are you able to see how many listeners you get to the podcast, or like have people responded? Or
the podcast has been all over the place because it's very niche. Because people think podcast, they think this interview. It's not that, and it's not audio drama either. And it's so it's been all over the place. It was going really great guns before the pandemic. I had somebody contact me about the podcast saying, oh, it was on the top 200 in iTunes in comedy. I'm like, what?
Wow.
That's how you found me? Because it was getting a lot of downloads. And then after the pandemic hit, and it just dropped off, precipitously. I don't know why.
Well, maybe people were listening on their commutes and stuff, and then they were just sitting at home.
Yeah, then they stopped doing that. So it's been coming back up, and I've been working on ways to, get it out there to more people. So
that's pretty cool. Well, James Altucher says it's better to be the only than the best. So, if you're the only person who's thought of reading funny live anecdotes, it's like, that's good, because we don't need another podcast like this one where it's just some loser like me talking to people for an hour. And even just in small bites, I'd want to tune into a bunch of little short stories rather to an hour of this or whatever. So that's good. That's good. All right. Well, I like that you're taking full advantage of modern technology and trying new things and using all your skills and all of that. And then you've got you're in the background there. You've got your foam blocks there for your voice acting, I guess.
Yeah. That was part of my.
Did we just freeze?
My studio, my actual
just
studio
froze.
is
Why did
off
we
here
just
to the
freeze?
side, so.
Oh, sorry, we just froze there. You were muted. What was that? I said you've got
one of the things I used to use, and but I have my actual studio, fully enclosed studio, is off here to the side. So.
Cool. Yeah, because I had a studio, like in my old condo. I had these panels made for the walls and ceilings. It was perfect. But now in my parents' basement, I've been trying to figure out what to do, and it occurred to me, hey, I've got 2 old tripods, so I put those beside me, and I put a big blanket on top of me, and that's that
works.
It works great, because I've been struggling. I bought a portable voice booth for hotels that I was going to go into, but it's such a pain to have to cram my computer in and hunch there, and I'm like, that is not going to end. So this is my new solution that I think is, and it's going to be in one of my the top 10 voice acting hacks for my little Amazon book. So so we'll see how my book does. Although I just gave away one of the tips, now nobody's going to buy my book. Oh well. All right. Well, thanks so much, Kris. Well, I'll look for you at kriskeppeler.com.
Yeah.
And well, hopefully you can come on another time, and we'll talk more about all the fun things you're working on.
Yeah.